It looks like it's going okay. I've got it set today so that it's only going to be recording me. It gives me the best recording quality if I set the recording so that it also catches you and catches stuff that's played. They all fight with each other. All the different sources fight with each other. So I'm going to pretty much just leave it here. If you have comments, go ahead and pop on and make the comments. Just know that they probably won't, other people won't be able to hear them. You can always go ahead and do the chat line. Please remember to put @ and your name so that we can see who is in here as we go, because I'm recording my screen. I'm not recording the actual meet itself. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully a couple more people will pop on shortly. Let's look and see what's going to be due on third. This is what we've got going on today. I have started the recording. We're going to talk about flooring detail drawings and master format specs. But let's go and pop over to Sunday and see. There is a portfolio checkup. 1.1, 1.2, and 1.23 are due and will be graded. Okay? And I want, if you can, I'm really asking you to do the sheet for 1.1, the sheet for 1.2, and the sheet for 1.3. 3 separate submittals, 1 sheet each. So that's what's due. And then I'm suggesting that you also submit your check print for 2.1 and 2.2. Okay, this is going to be your best time to get me to look at it before it gets graded, because we're going to be caught up to where when a unit is done, it's due. Like right now, we've finished 1.0, section 1, and we're already into 2. I find it's far less confusing if we're always matched up, but I can't do that the first time through. In the future, you're going to get 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and then it's due. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through. If you can get these, and these you should be able to get these submittals done this week. Shouldn't be a problem. They will be for check. Best practice. Submit your current work each week. These 2 will not be graded. These ones here, sorry, I came off my spot. These ones up here will be graded. Okay. You also need to do your professionalism. Remember that means that you make a posting and you make a reply. Okay, so you're asked about both of those in this form. So please be sure that you do that in a timely manner. So that's what's going to be due. Let's see what we're actually working on today. 2.2.1 and 2.2.2. So let's see what we're talking. So we talked a whole bunch about the terminology of concrete and wood and floors and all this kind of stuff. Let's see how we communicate those on a drawing. Okay? So there are flooring detailed drawings. Remember, this part is usually about how do detailed drawings look? What goes on a detailed drawing? It's a type of drawing that is imparting details. Yes, no, it's what it says it is. So some of those details might be the material of construction. What is it made out of? I'm going to make that bigger for you. What is it made out of? Okay. How do they go together? How do the components go together? Now, it could be so simple that it's just showing you with a picture, or it can be more complex. It says first you do this, then you do this, and then you do this. And then there's performance or test parameters that must be made. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And the reason I have these colored is so that in your portfolio, you can look at one of the details and the annotations, and you can look at it and go, oh, that's telling me a material. Or, oh, that's showing me how it goes together. Or, oh, I get it. That's about performance. So I've given you the same drawing in 3 different formats. You can use whichever one you want. You would just open it, take a snip, and put it in your portfolio. Now, I'm going to put it on the Jamboard first as one way to do it. But you could do this right in your portfolio, and I'm going to show you both ways. So let me just do it as a PDF. I don't care which one I choose. There's a picture. So I'm going to make a new snip of that picture. And for right now, I'm going to put it on my Jamboard. You do not need to use Jamboard. You can use whatever you want. Okay, but let's take a look and see. This is a truss floor assembly. A truss is a prefabricated assembly that has joists and connecting members. So, joist, connecting members. Okay, so that's what a truss is. This says it's 1 hour rating STC 55. Okay, so that's telling me something. So let's see. Lena. So you didn't get any input on your 1.2 and 1.3? Okay, I thought I had gotten everything that was submitted on time, but thank you for letting me know. I'll go back today and check those and make sure that you get that feedback. That's in your submittals, right? Oh, that's in the discussions? Okay, got it. Yeah, so it can happen that'll go. So thank you for letting me know. I'll go back and look at it. I'll go back and look at those for you. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, so this is a 1 hour rating STC 55. That's some sort of a test or a standard. So that's telling us what has to happen, that this has to do something and meet some sort of a standard, and it's going to get tested in some fashion. Okay? LWC, anybody got an idea what LWC topping is? LWC topping. So what they're saying is this is probably common, but there's some sort of topping that this one is specific for. What does LWC mean? This is part of your how do you read a spec. Anybody got a good idea? Well, this is a topping, so that's probably something at the top. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to read it because I don't know what this means, right? What I'm doing is I'm treating this drawing just like a spec, and I'm looking it over, and I start with the title, just like I do with anything that I draw. I start with the title, and I see what I don't know. And I don't know what an LWC topping is, but I'll look at the top and see. Top. Here's an arrow. Oh, L W C. I'll bet you that means lightweight top concrete. Yeah, so Eric got the concrete, lightweight concrete. Okay, yep, lightweight concrete. So that's what I'm going to do. That's how I do this. Topping. Look at the top. So I always start with this. And it tells me that this is specifically made to last 1 hour in a specific test. And I'll tell you that that's a fire test. I happen to know because I used to have my own product, which was a valve, tested at Underwriters Laboratory in Illinois, Northbrook, Illinois. And I'd go there when they would test my product. And my product was really boring. They would hook it up to some pumps and they would put water through it and test it. But to get to the test lab where mine was, I got to walk through the cool part of Underwriters Laboratory. And this was one of them. They would actually build big floors to the standards that were given on the drawings. And so they would build this, and it would probably be about 30 feet by 30 feet. And it would be 5 feet off the ground, and underneath it you would see all these pipes and canisters. And what they would do is they would start the timer and they would light that thing off, and just fire would be pouring out of those canisters, and this thing would have to last an hour to be rated for 1 hour. Another one that I saw that was really cool, they had a tower. This was all indoors too. So it was about a 30-foot tall tower made out of wood, and on the top there was a little metal safe. And there was a piece of parchment paper in the safe, along with about 1 million cool thermistors and all sorts of measurement pieces of equipment. And they lit a fire underneath the tower, and the fire went up and up and up, and it got hotter and hotter and hotter, and it finally burned. And that safe came crashing down into the middle of the fire. And when it cooled off, they opened it up and saw if they could still read the parchment paper. That was a fireproof safe test. So cool. What an awesome place to work, don't you think? You get to make giant flamethrowers to burn stuff up and see if it works. It is so cool. So anyway, that's why I picked this one. I actually saw this thing get tested. All right. So I look at that, and then I look at things that parallel chord trusses. That tells me how these trusses get put together. They're parallel and 24-inch on center. That tells me how it goes together. These plates tell me how it goes together. This batting tells me that it's optional. Tells me how it goes together. Okay? 1/2 inch gypsum board. Okay? 2 layers of gypsum board. That tells me how it goes together. 22-30 seconds wood. That tells me what the material is. Lightweight concrete. It tells me what the material is. Tells me how to test it. So this is full of all sorts of cool details. It says that there's a drawing that tells me exactly how big these are and spaces and what type of plates. It tells me to go look at a drawing. And same with this subfloor. So what I would do if I did this in Jamboard, I would take this, and where it tells me it's a material of construction, I would make a big red thing through it. Material of construction. Material of construction. Material construction. Material of construction. Okay? How they go together needs to be green. How they go together. How they go together. How it goes together. And performance will be orange. Performance. Performance. Okay, so that's really what's going to go in your portfolio. So another way to put it in your portfolio, if you don't want to do something like, oh, this is 1/2-inch lightweight concrete. That's a material, right? So there's other ways that I could do this. I could just put it right in here. Now look, a couple of you are getting stuff that's hanging over. Yeah, the stuff is in there, but that doesn't look that great. Also, if you put it right on the border, it doesn't look that great either. You usually have some sort of break to the border. So now I'm going to go up and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Materials of construction. There's lots of ways to do this. Tons of ways. But one cool way is to make a shape around that. Make it transparent, red, and maybe it needs to be a little bit more. There we go. That's a material of construction. That's a material of construction. That's a material of construction. That's a material of construction too. But it's also a where things go. Okay, but sort of see how that kind of goes? And then down here, I can put another one. That one was a test. So that one should be some sort of a orange color. This is a test. Orange color. So you see how you can make that work? That's essentially what you're going to do right here. So I can do it right in my Google Drive. I could do it on a Jamboard. I think I closed my Jamboard. No, I hid it. I could do it on a Jamboard. I could do it in Paint. I could do it in PowerPoint. But it seems to me that this is a very easy way to do it. This is a where things go, right? I'm not going to do the whole thing for you. But that is in essence what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to show me that you understand that detailed drawings do these three things. Now, not every detailed drawing does all of those, but they're going to do one of those. And I want you to look at it and read it and sort of get an idea. Yeah, that's about materials. Yeah, that's about how it goes together. Yeah, that's how this goes. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, cool. Yeah, this is an easy way. There's no doubt. And there are other tools up here to use if you want to. Some people just draw a line under something. So let me just show you another thing. Maybe you just want to draw a line. And if I hold the Shift key down, it stays horizontal. And change that line color and make it like a bold line. So that's another way that you can do it. That is, it needs to make sense to you, and it needs to impart your learning to me. Nice and simple. SOS, start out simple. Okay, cool. Looks like you guys are doing okay with that. I'm going to zoom in on the next little part. The next part could get a little scrunchy, so you have to think about how you're going to do this. Okay, but let's go take a look. 2.2.2. If I get it off of here, here it is. So we just looked at detailed drawings. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. A detailed drawing is a way to impart details. Now here's something that you'll find. I just want to make comment on. Notice how there's not many dimensions on here. Here's a dimension up here. But sometimes that will say per drawing. So it's just like, hey, there's concrete on top of subfloor, on top of truss with some batting, and then there's some gypsum board. And oh, by the way, we're going 24-inch on center, which is what's called advanced framing. And it's got to be 10-inch. It says minimum. So it's not really telling you sizes too much on many detailed drawings. You'll have another drawing somewhere specific to your job which will identify this. There will be a specific truss drawing or something like that. Or you'll take this template drawing and you'll add one dimension or a few dimensions for your own specific design. Okay, now let's talk about master format specs. Flooring is one of the main areas where you need specifications, because people just do anything with flooring. And you get contractors that just slap down, pieces of this and pieces of that, and they do it however they want. And flooring has to last, and it gets really rough use, or it can get really rough use. And so you really need good specs for it. So the division that flooring is under is called finishes. There's more in finishes than just wood or flooring. Okay. 64 is all about wood flooring. Division 9 is about the finish flooring. What type of finish does the flooring have? This is about how to make wood flooring. 03 has concrete. So you got to sort of get good at this and look around and read stuff and figure out where it is. But this is typical. Residential foundations and flooring, you're going to look in 09 and category 64. So let's look at a few of those. Here's some samples. Here's one from Graff Brothers, I think. So Graff Brothers obviously wants you to put their copy of this in your spec book. Because then when a contractor goes, okay, I got to use the 096419, they'll go grab this, and right off the bat, they'll go, oh, look, I know exactly where to get this stuff. That saves me money. And so all this stuff comes up, and you can put it in there or not. And look, there's in part 1 general, you've got something about what's included in the section. And it's about all these different things. Engineered wood flooring of these species. So right off the bat, you can see that, but it's just general still. And then there's related sections. This is where you would say, oh, and by the way, you have to follow the rough carpentry stuff, and you have to block the floor, and you have to do the painting and coating right, or none of our stuff works right. So you're going to have to go read these things too, if you're the painter or the wood framer or the rough carpentry guy. And it says, look, you're gonna have to go to this section. We're just going to use the standard submittals. And those are shown at the front of your spec book. So instead of doing it every time, because this is a big spec all in itself, instead of writing that in every single spec, they go, nope. Go to the front of your binder, look up this spec, and find out what submittals are required. And those submittals are usually product cut sheets, cost sheets, warranty sheets, installation sheets. You have to submit all those to the architect or the contractor before they'll buy your stuff. And they're going to include certain product data. Okay? We also want to know how you make sure that you make the right stuff for us every time. This is really common. Minimum 5 years manufacturing similar products. And installers have to have been doing it for 2 years. I tell you, this is where it gets really hard. If you're a small business and you've been working for somebody for 10 years and you actually know more about it than the boss, and you go, dang, I'm going to start doing my own thing. This is how the big guys kick you out. Small businesses are in general minority, first-time business owners, trying to get started in a disadvantaged area. They're trying to get ahead. They're going, man, I do this better than the guys I'm working for. Let me go ahead and do this. This is what keeps people out. And you want to be very, very careful about putting that in there. Why do you really need that? How do you know they haven't been doing garbage for 5 years? I've worked with contractors that are horrible. and they've been doing the same horrible thing for 20 years. Right? And this protects them from the people that do good stuff. So this is a hard one, man. I'm telling you, when you put this in there, now you have the right to just cross that out and get rid of it and say, I'm not using your spec, I'm changing this. Now, there are some reasons for this, and you're seeing this a lot right now, unfortunately, with a lot of government contracts right now, where they're getting people that have been in business, and especially with FEMA, and they've been in business, but they haven't been doing this. And so they're really good business people and buyers and sellers, and they're making the most basic mistakes. And it's costing taxpayers money. And it's harming the people that live here because we're not doing a good job. So this can also be a way of showing that you can do a good job. But another way that you could say that is, or doing certain certifications, or other ways of showing that you can do work that are specific to this type of work. A lot of times there's certification standards for your labor force. Same thing goes here. You know, you don't want to have to tell somebody how to do their job, and if they've been doing it for 2 years, you can go and look and see what they've been doing. So the idea here is that there are references. Well, we all know about that. We look on Yelp and Better Business Bureau and Angie's List and all that kind of stuff. So this is the way that they try to do that. When you buy it, the contractor has to comply with the manufacturer's recommendations. So if it says that you have to store this stuff before you use it in a temperature similar to its final use, you can't just buy it 6 months ahead of time, stick it out on the ground in the mud and the dirt and the ice and the rain, and hope that it's still going to work. And here's where they're making that very specific. And here they're saying, hey, do this right. Make sure that you're doing this. And then project conditions. They're saying that you have to do these types of things. Why do they put down ventilation, by the way? Who cares, right? Why does it have to be ventilated? So Shivani asks, is that just for hardwood? Does it include laminate? This particular spec is for engineered wood flooring. So they are talking about wood. In my experience, they all put something down in here about how to control how their product is used. So I'm going to say, yes, it's probably for laminate and vinyl planks too, but you would read their spec. So Eric says to keep the wood from expanding, to avoid mold. And what Adrian said, yep. So yes, those are good. Anybody know what TVOC means? TVOC. I actually have a TVOC meter in my house. Total volatile organic compounds. Okay? It's the most, those are toxic to us. Super, super, super toxic. And there are people even that have been exposed to it to such a degree that they have to live in super, super pure areas. But TVOC is one of the main things that we get looked at. Do anybody remember when the laminate floor stuff from China? Particulates and sawdust? Almost, but the TVOC is a little bit different, and I'll tell you what. Anybody know what the one source of TVOC is that's in everything, and we have to be very careful of? It's called formaldehyde. Okay, and you go, oh, well, that's what they pickle pigs in so that we can do our 8th grade science, right? No, formaldehyde is the glue that the world uses. It is the number one best, strongest, easiest to process, most used way of sticking things together that there is. Hardwood laminates, formaldehyde. The cushions on your sofa, formaldehyde. The countertops that you use, formaldehyde. The engineered wood beams, formaldehyde. Number one thing for sticking plastics together, formaldehyde. IKEA, formaldehyde. It's amazing. And vinyl flooring, it's all put down with formaldehyde. So TVOC is very, very important. And so you have to ventilate well, because when a product is made, the TVOC off gassing is high, and it reduces with time. So when you first get a product, you have to have it ventilated, or whoever goes into that storage chamber to get it is going to get a dose. And then when you put it down, this is new building smell, right? You go into a new house, a new car. What you're smelling, new car smell? Formaldehyde. Paint. What keeps paint stuck to a wall? Formaldehyde. So now look, there are people that go, well, we just need to get rid of formaldehyde. The sad conclusion is nothing works anymore if you don't use formaldehyde. So the trick is, how do we keep the formaldehyde locked into the material, or keep it so well ventilated that it doesn't harm people? So that's why you do this control even when you just get it. Okay? So there's 7 things. There's 9 things that are commonly on there. This one's got these 7. Okay, and it's worth looking at those. It's pretty interesting. Now, since formaldehyde is used in the manufacturing upstream of most of the places that build things, like if you go to a vinyl floor company, they won't list formaldehyde in their product. It's what's holding stuff together, and it comes into the factory in sheets, and so they don't have to list formaldehyde. And the glue guys list formaldehyde, but it's bonded in, and so it's something that comes in later on. So in the United States, we rarely list formaldehyde. So we've made them put down TVOC, total volatile organic compounds. And it's a reading that you can take. In the European Union, they're much more strict. They go way back the supply chain for their safety data sheets, which is why these trade agreements, you go, well, we're good. We know we're making good stuff. Why won't they accept our stuff? We do make good stuff. And it's no different than what they make in Europe, but we refuse to report. And Europe requires the report. So that's where a lot of the trade wars happen. It's not about the product itself. It's about what you're reporting in the product. So you need to make sure that your specs call out the stuff that you want, especially in here, and that are important to you. Okay? There are some places that say, this must be a product that is rated for, lead TVOC levels of this, that, or the other thing. Kind of neato. So what you're going to do, hold on, let me find it here. You're going to pick one of the things I've said and just put a link to it right here. You'll put a link to graph wood flooring. Tell me who it is, the title, and the spec number. Where do I find that? It's on the very top. Who it is, Graph Brothers. The title, Engineering Wood Flooring, and the section number. 09, Division 09 Finishes, 64 Wood Flooring, and this is product number 19. And then you're going to say, this spec contains how many? This particular one is 7. So you'll replace that with 7. And each one of those things is called an article. Article 1.1. Article 1.2. Article 1.3. And to know this structure is very important. You should know, okay, here's the general stuff. If you're looking for installation and how to install it, you don't read all this kind of stuff because it doesn't have to do with installation. Installation comes at the very bottom. Okay, so you have to know what's in here. So we're going to tell people 7 articles, and they are, and then list them. Section, and don't write 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. That imparts no information. It includes what's in this section, related sections, other standards, how to submit, quality assurance requirements, delivery, storage, and handling requirements, conditions on the project site to use this work, warranty information. And then here's a cool one. Many specs let you know where to go for more information. There's associations. So let's look at this one. Way down at the bottom of this, is it this one? No, I actually have to go to graph. I think I have to go to Graph Brothers. It's in here somewhere. They're in here somewhere. And it's not that one. No, here's a different one for wood dance floor. I'll find it. One of these has, oh, here it is. Huh, it's at the bottom. Insert an image. So I went to graphbrothers.com just to check them out and see if they would be a reliable source. And I go, wow, oh man, look at this. So they're part of a bunch of places that I could look up, but I've done that. And I've noticed, oh, these are all pretty good places. Wood product manufacturer. This one in particular, WPMA. I've heard of those guys. NWFA. Better than the NFWA. But you'll just take a clip of one of these and get it in there somewhere. So now you have to sort of see how this is going to work. So you might want to put this like somewhere in the lower corner and get your text box. Put a new text box in there that allows you to put that in there without causing a problem. Okay, so that's how you can get that in there. Okay. So there we go. So that's really how you do this one. What the takeaway from this is that there's a way to read this, and it's just like reading the contents from a textbook or reading the index of a reference manual. Start off with who's the main actor, and then try to find out what the main thing is about. Sort of like when we looked at that drawing. And then find out the main parts. There's a general part. There's a part about the products itself. And we did this last week. Boy, there's a lot about the product. And then there's a part about, they call it examination. Sometimes they call it execution. Sometimes they call it installation. Oh, there it is, execution. And that way, and you kind of know what's under each one. Execution is examining the product when you get it, installing the product, cleaning the product. Okay, so you got to know sort of what these main ones are. Then you know these next big headings. And so it's a real quick way to get to the information that you want. Cool? And so that's what I'm looking for in here. Okay, so I think I posted a Minecraft thing. I want to just show you really quickly what it's like, and I'll repost how to get to it. I've had some people go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to calm this down here, and I'm going to come here. So this is Minecraft Educational. It's a little bit different. I got to show you how to log in, and I think this works. So you would use your W number, at. Now, here's where the mistake is. I think it's supposed to be arc.losrios.edu. If you put in the apps.losrios.edu, it doesn't recognize you. I think it has to say arc.losrios.edu. And then it should take you to your single sign-on. Now, you can do this through VMware. I hope it will. Or you can download this. It works on Chrome, Windows. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, so you'll put yours in there. And then, sorry, I've got to get this music turned down soon. Then it takes you to here. Okay, so when did you do that, Adrian? Because we're supposed to have unlimited right now. I think it's because it was the apps. Adrian, if you would try it sometime with the ARC one, that'll fix the limit, I hope. So then we get into the play, view my worlds, and then I've got this forest biome. I'm going to host it so that you guys will be able to get on it. And so this is what it looks like. And so I found a spot. If you look at that position up in the corner, once I host it, you'll be able to go to your own area and you can see that I've got an area and it's got a nice topography. And we'll be able to actually create this topography. I'm going to show our people in the design classes that do the drawings how to take a snip of this and create the topography. And then there will be a design which says, okay, I need to cut over here and fill over here and make myself a building pad. And what you're going to do is you're going to come on down here, and the first thing you're going to have to do is grub. Let's see. Dang it, I keep... all my controls are different than what I'm used to working with. So you have to knock down the trees that are in the way. That's called grubbing, right? And if there's 3 or 4 of you doing this, it goes pretty fast. You get the idea. You're going to grub an area. Then you're going to do fill. This is my compaction portion. Oops, I'm on the wrong material. My first layer is gravel. Sort of just like a speck that you would normally see too far away. And if you're good at this, or you got a kid that's good at this, they just whip this stuff out. Takes me a little bit of a while, particularly since these controls are a little bit backwards of what I used to use. Yeah, and I can probably destroy that little guy too, but You can put up fences to keep people out too. And you can make stormwater pollution plans, prevention plans. Anyway, once you got that done, then you go ahead and put in your sand layer. And then we'll look at the drawing to see if I'm supposed to get rid of this and put in a layer of sand. And then on top of sand, we have dirt. Okay, and so once that's done correctly per the drawing, then you'll be able to put in a concrete pad. White concrete, light gray concrete. And so when you have a nice big level area, you'll go ahead and put your concrete in. Okay, and this will all be done to sort of a drawing. So this gives you your chance. Now what's interesting is if you look at the position indicator in the upper left, it's always telling me where I am. So this is part of sort of like your survey. You're going to be mostly interested in, can I do my site work? Can I grub? Can I put in my compaction properly, my mix of gravel, sand, and soil? And where do I do that? Can I put in my building pad? Once you've got a building pad, then you get to build walls. Now, this is all pretty clunky, except I am getting my position as I go, so somebody can actually come and measure whether you did it right, which is really cool. Like where I'm standing right now, and let me take a different look. Okay, so I'm not standing right where I want to. Right there. Okay, 24.99, 65, 46. So if I have a drawing that gives me those locations, I can actually check and see if I laid out my property properly. It's just like you do in the real world of survey and stuff. We can check your grade. You can do the work. Now here, things are pretty coarse. What got us started on this was a chemistry professor that was working with us on the SARS molecule, and we had a 4,000 point cloud, and he gave it to us, and we were having a hard time getting our visualizations done. So he gave us an NSF site, National Science Foundation. And on that site, we went to it, and lo and behold, we uploaded our molecule and it worked. And the laboratory, it was a Minecraft site. We were loading it through Minecraft. Now, they happen to use a program called FME, which we also have now, which scaled the points. Instead of being 1 meter cubed, they were 1 nanometer cubed. And then they scaled the visualization to sit on their lab bench. And people would actually gather in Minecraft to all talk and work on these molecules and visualize them together. So that one told me, okay, if they can do that, we can do it. And we've started working Minecraft as a way to do this. Now, there's also something called a shader, which are very complex graphic user interface programs that you can download almost for free. And so there's a guy who runs a shader Patreon site. For $10 a month, you can download anything that he does. And he's a graphics programmer. And I am telling you, this would look like the Garden of Eden after he's done his shading. It's flipping phenomenal. And architects are actually starting to use their basic mass modeling. So I can know how many blocks of this, how many blocks of this, how many blocks of this. You get these gross, simplified material projections, and then you can shade it so that your customer gets a visualization. Now, this guy has 6,000 people on his Patreon site at $10 a month paying him. He used to work for a graphics company, and now he works for himself doing Minecraft shading. It's flippin' amazing. So don't poo-poo this too much. There's good technical work we can do, but what I want to do is just make it so that you guys can all get in here and build something together. And I'll let you put teams together. You can work in teams of however many you want. I don't really care. I'll get you in the next week or two the site that I want you to do. I'll have 3 or 4 sites. I'll get you a drawing of the site, and then I'll let you do the cut and the fill and the compaction and make a building pad. And by that time, we'll probably be to the point where you'll have done walls, windows, and doors and roofs, and you can actually produce a building. Okay? And then we can have somebody come in and inspect it and see how close you came. Cool? So that's what the Minecraft thing is going to be like. It's pretty simple. It's straightforward. All the controls that you need are there. And your position indicator is there. And what's really cool, what I like, is you can be in it at the same time. Now, it's not as easy to communicate in Minecraft Education as it is in some of the other versions of Minecraft. So I'm going to suggest that you either together, if you do it with a team, have a Google Meet running where you can talk, or Discord running where you can talk, or Skype, or whatever it is that you want, and you can get in here and you can do some of this work. So for now, I just want you to get in here. You can get your own river biome world, and you can learn how to, break things and build things. Double click the space bar and you jump, or click it and you jump. Double click and you fly. Look at the plots. Hit E to, and these controls are a little bit different, by the way. If you get on a Chromebook, it's a little bit different than if you get on a Mac. So, but you'll get it. And it's all pretty much right there for you. Okay. Cool. So Adrian, if you could check that out and see if it lets you in for regular, and just give me some feedback with an email, that would be really cool. There we go. Any questions on that? Cool. And then I'll get a computer up and running. The problem with hosting is that the host has to be active. It's not like a regular Minecraft server that I can just turn on and go. So we have to have it actually running. So I'm going to set up a little computer and hook it up, and hopefully it'll be on, and then I'll host it so that you guys can always just use that that hosting invite and just get in it whenever you want. It's perfectly okay to get technical help from experts, i.e., your kids, your cousins, your brothers and sisters. If you're not one of the pros, get help. So the link, so Lena, I'm gonna have to set up one of these so it'll stay on. Because if I share the link to you, as soon as I'm out, you guys are dropped, so it won't work. Is that how to get Minecraft, or is that how to get to my world for Lena? Because to get to Minecraft, to get your world to Minecraft. Okay, so yeah, so how to get mine. So I'm going to have to get mine set up so it'll stay on, or that link will be useless. But if you go to just to practice to do one that's like mine. Okay, how do I get out of here now? Let's see. Escape. Stop hosting. Confirm. Escape. Escape. So it's going to... Okay. If you want to get one and just practice for right now, you can go to this library. And there's tons of stuff. Like, you can even take a tutorial. Like this thing that you see right here, I'll be doing that eventually, not too long from now. It's like I can actually put you into a little Minecraft schoolroom and post onto the board. It's pretty cool. And we're going to biomes. Like you can go into here and you can get a classroom. And on that classroom, there's a board, and you guys can all have computers and all that kind of stuff. But I chose to use a biome, and I chose this one because there's a lot of different stuff. So if you want to go to this biome and the share link sort of doesn't quite work right. Okay, it's not working like I'm hoping. This just sets you into a blank one of your own. But then you can go to create a new world and kind of make your own version of it. So here it's playing a new one. I hope it didn't just overwrite my existing one. It might have. I wonder if it just overwrote my existing one. Good. It left my forest biome alone. So, okay, so you can just play around in these things for now. Yeah, there's tons of cool stuff. So my next step is to get the things set so that you can do your stuff. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to stop the record.